everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're about to enter our first Eldritch Moon Shadows over Innistrad draft. Yes, my very first interaction with the cards. I always like to preface my first draft of a new format by letting you know that it's not in your best interest to judge my draft skills or my knowledge of this format based on my first few drafts. For example, if you're watching this 2 or 3 weeks after Eldritch Moon has already come out online, might be a good idea to fast forward to drafts I've already recorded, the most recent drafts I've recorded, because those are going to be a better indicator of my skills at evaluating the format. This is going to be an experimental phase for me in the beginning, because I have to play with the cards to truly understand how well they play and how good they are in the format. Okay. Now that I've gotten all of the excuse making out of the way, just want to remind you, if you like the content on this channel, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, it helps me out a lot. And if you want to watch me stream on Twitch, you can find that at twitch.tv/Inez27. You can also find the link to that in the video description. Okay, so this is exciting. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Going to be a lot of Eldritch Moon drafts in the future, so hold on tight for those. But in the meantime, let's get this thing going. We'll see you in just a second. Well, here we are. Okay, I was worried I was going to be passing Athalia, which is worth 4 tickets. Believe it or not, Ishkana is actually worth 6 tickets, so I can happily take this card. Yes, I think we're going to take Ishkana. This card seems fantastic. 5 mana, 3/5 reach. Not out of control there, even with the 7 mana ability, but Delirium getting 3 1/2 spiders, that's insane. So yes, I'm going to take it over the foil Thalia. Let's see what else we have. Ah yes, okay, Faith Unbroken, which basically is an aura that turns your creature into a Fiend Hunter. Hamlet Captain, fantastic card, originally in the first Innistrad. Scour the Laboratory, this card is phenomenal too. This pack seems great. Maybe it's just a bunch of good cards in this format, I'm not sure. But we're going to start it off with the Mythic. Yes. Okay. Follow-up pick. What do we have? All right. Well, Midnight Scavengers. We passed the Graph Rats to start it off, but this is the pick that pairs well with that. We might just be looking at Boon of Emrakul, which is a good black removal spell. Sort of pairs with our Ishkana. We have this Weirded Vampire, Madness Dude. Let's look for really powerful cards that I don't want to overlook here. I think Coax and Emrakul's Influence are straight out. So it's really like Boon of Emrakul, which is just a removal spell. I guess in a real pinch, it could be a pump spell. I'm sure I'll see some games won that way. But yes, for the most part, this is a removal spell. This card's just interesting, but I don't really like it. I don't think it's particularly good. I'm sure I'm going to draft it at some point with the blue-red Rise from the Tides deck, which was my favorite archetype of Shadows over Innistrad. Let's take the Boon of Emrakul, just get the removal spell. Safe pick. We know it's good. More exciting than a 3 mana 3/2 Vigilance. Ah, Oath of Liliana. Well, at worst, I guess this card is 3 mana, target player sacrifices a creature, which admittedly is not that great. Could just take another Boon of Emrakul for that reason. I always like to check prices on cards because cards have extremely bloated, inflated prices at the beginning of a format, but not Oath of Liliana, which is only 7 cents. Probably just take another Boon of Emrakul. We have this Mockery of Nature. I'm excited to try out Emerge, see how good it is. This one doesn't strike me as insane because destroying an artifact or enchantment in a format that's not all about that doesn't seem that good. We have this Choking Restraints, which I like. I kind of like this card less now with Emerge because you put it on the creature and they just emerge it away. But I think following up with another Boon of Emrakul seems fine to me, right? We'll continue to cut black and we'll get a powerful removal spell at the same time. Okay, so we can take Graph Rats. We have this Splendid Reclamation, which is more of a build around. Cemetery Recruitment, which is fine. Raised Dead effects are always playable. Crossroads Consecrator definitely wants us to be more human-centric. Long Road Home, not really what I'm looking at. This card seems playable, but not insane. Bold Impaler is basically just good because it's a vampire. Other than that, not a very great card. Probably just take the Graph Rats. I kind of want to try out the one meld card that you can realistically get. At worst, it's a Goblin Piker in black. Augmentation does not seem very good. Wailing Ghoul actually does seem good. Do I like it more than building towards a meld plan? You know, it's a legitimate question. This feeds your Delirium for like Ishkana. There's an argument for that. But, you know, we might get these Wailing Ghouls really late. So I'm going to take the Graph Rats. Still holding out hope that we can get to that Chittering Host. So we have multiple Cemetery recruitments. Let's see if there's anything that's insane that would tell us archetype is open. Borrowed Grace, yeah, it's fine. Not great. Fiendbinder is actually a very powerful card. I think this card is very, very good. Every time it attacks, taps something down an opponent controls. So Primal Druid is fine for a merge, but nothing crazy good. I guess it can block for a while and fix for something. We could just take the Fiendbinder. It seems as though Ishkana is a very splashable card, especially if you're just either side is splashable, which is nice. I think I'm actually going to take the Fiendbinder. It just seems much stronger than Primal Druid here. Don't mind the sirens. The police are not after me. They're not on to me yet. Okay, we have Harmless Offering. Look at that cat's tail. Something screwy's going on here. So we've got Borrowed Grace again, another Cemetery recruitment. I really like this Fogwalker. I said this during my set reviews, but man, I don't think it's like busted or anything, but I do like it. Lunarch Mantle, fine, not insane. Certainly playable. We could just take the recruitment now. Brings us back some bomb creatures. Might find some zombies in black, of course. Otherwise, I could take the Primal Druid and try it out. But let's stick to black for now. I don't know how good Primal Druid is yet. It doesn't seem like a great... I mean, it seems like a fine Emerge card. But if you're already at the point where you can play the Emerge, I don't know. So we've got this Vampire Cutthroat, which does seem good. I could just take another Fiendbinder. I mean, this card is definitely going to be good in multiples as well. I really like this Borrowed Malevolence card, actually. I wanted to try this out. This definitely seems like a good card. Whether it be a... It's just a combat trick at worst. So... Bloodbriar would have been insane if it was in Shadows over Innistrad because of the investigations, the clue tokens. But outside of that, I don't think it's that good. I could just take the Fiendbinder. Yeah, no, I'm going to take it over Borrowed Malevolence, even though I think Malevolence or Cutthroat would both be fine picks, or Survivalist for that matter too. But maybe I'm putting too much stock in this card, but I think it's really strong. I'm pretty sure tapping down, being able to attack and tap something down has always been good. So we could take another Graph Rats. Nephalia Academy, more of a cool commander card, but outside of that, not that sweet. I actually think Faithbearer Paladin is a legit good card. But let's take another Graph Rats. We still have another pack to find our Midnight Scavengers. And like I said, at worst, it's a playable 2-mana 2/1, which is fine. Goblin Piker in black. It of the Horrid Swarm. We could take this, or we could take the Faithbearer Paladin, or we can take the Field Creeper, which is efficient, basically an efficiently costed way to get Delirium online. Good for Ishkana, of course. I don't know how good this one is. I guess it seems fine. You should really think of it as like a 5-mana 4/4 that gets you 2 insects. Let's take it. I don't know how good it is yet, but we're going to find out. I'm going to put it in the 5-mana slot, too. I think realistically that's where it could end up. All right, we'll take Spring Sage Ritual, I guess, for sideboard. We're at the point now where we could still splash white or green. We don't know which one we want to splash yet. I guess Fiendbinder seems like a bit of an awkward splash, so we'd prefer to be in white. But I actually like this Grapple with the Pass. I think this card is good. Laboratory Brute, good for Delirium. Let's take the Grapple. We can take another recruitment, I guess. You probably wouldn't want to play it in multiples, but I can't see myself playing augmentation. I guess it's +3/+3 with Delirium, which is kind of strong for 1 mana, but we'll take the recruitment anyway. None of these cards are very good. I guess we'll take the white card just in case we end up in that color. Okay, moderately successful pack one. I mean, Ishkana, obviously the highlight, but take the white card here. Guess there's a chance we play it. Okay, now we have this Eternal Scourge, which I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, a 3-mana 3/3 is efficient, and it's colorless, so you can play it in any color. And you can cast it from exile, but every time it's targeted by something, you have to exile it. So I don't know how I feel about that one. Hanweir Garrison I know is going to be a strong card. This is legitimately a strong card. It's only worth a ticket. For that reason, I guess I could take... I think these Foul Bloods are probably pretty decent, especially considering they're a zombie. I could take Rise from the Grave, which because you can pull from your opponent's graveyards, I like it too. It's only a ticket I'm passing with the Garrison, so I don't really care. I think I'm going to take the Foul Bloods. I think because it's a 3-drop, it's probably pretty good. It seems a lot better than... I mean, if you can get Delirium, a 3-mana 4/3 Menace is way better than the Farbog Hounds, the ones that were the 5-mana 5/3. This is much more efficient. So we have the Olivia's Dragoon, which is a Madness Enabler, a Delirium Enabler, and a potential evasive 2-drop black creature. Let's see what the Newscrav mob does. So it's 6 mana, 5/5, and whenever a player casts a spell, you get a 2/2 zombie. I actually think this card is good. I think this card is legitimately good. Just because it's spitting out a bunch of dudes, and they don't enter tapped. Keep that in mind, too. So what I like about this is, let's say you get your 5/5, right? You can keep up an instant and get a 4/4 and a 2/2 in a pinch. I don't know. Something about this card strikes me as good. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to end up getting some 2/2s. I guess if you block with it and then they cast a spell and it makes the guy weaker, that could be a problem. But I'm still going to try it out. I'm interested in it. Succumb to Temptation seems playable. Stitcher's Graft, much more of a card that you're going to want to play with vigilant creatures. But, I mean, it's strong. Dusk Feaster, you're definitely going to want Delirium, otherwise it's not that great of a card. Grizzled Angler does seem very good. Standard Bear, I mean, it's fine. It's not great. We can take the Succumb to Temptation. How good is Dusk Feaster? If you can reliably get Delirium, I think this card is phenomenal. If you can't, I think it's pretty bad. But that being said, maybe I just take it. Otherwise, I'm taking, I guess, 3 mana. You can't cast it on your opponent, though. It is instant speed. We don't really have any other instants besides Grapple with the Pass, though. I assume this card plays better with other instants, so you actually get some value out of that. Let's try this Dusk Feaster out. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Okay, so we have this Imrical's Evangel, which I don't think is a particularly good card. But it is a 3 mana 3/2, I guess. We have this Ulvenwald Captive, which I do think is a great card, so we probably just want to take this. Besides being a green ramp spell, which is already great, the fact that it can turn into a win con, yeah, I think we just want this Captive pretty badly. This card seems very good. Much better than the rare, I would say. I don't like that you have to sacrifice the Evangel. If you could just sacrifice other creatures, this card would be very good. But the fact that you only get basically one use out of it, the activated ability, I think makes it not that good. I like this Desperate Sentry a lot, too. This is a great Emerge card. But I'm going to take the Ramp green creature. I think Ramp is always good and limited. All right, we have the Midnight Scavenger. This might be a good opportunity to pick up our pair with the Graph Rats. We have this Wretched Griff, which I think is fine, but we don't have blue, so I'm less of a fan. And we have a Patrol. We're going to take the Scavenger, I think. There's actually quite a few guys. I love how Graph Rats works with Scavenger, too. Your rats die, and then you bring them back with the Scavenger, and suddenly you have a 5/6 haste menace. So that just seems good to me. I'm going to take it over the Fiendbinder and the Cutthroat. So let's see how that works out for us. Yet another recruitment. No, this time we want this Swift Spinner, which I think is perfectly fine. Like, if you compare it to Nephalia's Sea Kite, it's strictly worse, in my opinion. I mean, you'd rather have an evasive flash, like a flash flyer than a flash reacher, but this card is still fine. I'm kind of excited to see how Fortune's Favor plays. When I read the card and I understood how it works, it's a pretty fun fact or fiction, but we'll see how good it actually is, because we are currently unaware. All right, well, so we have this Cultist Staff. I think this is probably going to end up being a fairly underwhelming, clunky equipment. Like, it's fine, it's playable, but you shouldn't be overly excited about it. Another late Fogwalker. I'm fine taking the Madness Vamp. I don't think a Hill Giant's particularly good, but at this point we have no means to... Actually, maybe, we probably just take the Woodland Patrol now. I'd rather keep the curve as low as possible, and at this point it seems like we're just going to be black-green and probably just forego the white. Fiendbinders don't strike me as something that I need to splash, so I'd rather, I guess, just take the green creature that I can play. All right, we get a Wailing Ghoul, which is actually now just very good for our deck. Besides being a zombie that we can return with recruitment and draw a card. Oh, I guess New Scrap Mob is... That's kind of cool. It also feeds our Delirium, so definitely something our deck is going to be looking for. All right, we'll take the Primal Druid now. I'm fine with that. We'll try this card out. Whispers of Emrakul. I guess I'd much rather have the Grapple with the Past, I would say. I think that seems much better. Feed our Delirium and get back things, which is always good. I think both Cultist and Innkeeper are going to be good in this format. I probably fear the Cultist a little bit more just because it works so well with... You go 3-drop Cultist into your 4-drop Emerge 7 card, draw a card, get an Emerge 7-drop. It's pretty strong. All right, Supplicant I think is actually going to be good for us. It feeds our Delirium. We don't have any Madness, but a 3-mana 2/3 is fine. And if you're ever ahead on the life total, then it could just be a way to finish up a game. So I think we're off to a pretty good deck here, actually. I'm liking the way we're looking. By the end of Shadows over Innistrad, I was very much into low curve decks that ran 16 lands, and a lot of people tended to disagree with me on running 16. But I think the best argument for why 16 is probably okay. I'm just going to pass the blue card, indicate that we're not in those colors, or that color. If you do the math on 16 lands out of a 40-card deck, it ends up working out to be 40% of your deck. Your average standard mid-range deck runs 24 lands out of 60 cards, and that's actually 40% of the deck as well. So I think people tend to overestimate, hey, Arlen. Geez, we opened all 3 were double rare packs. I probably have to take Arlen because value, but I'd love to splash her if at all possible. That'd be awesome. That'd be okay with me. I assume she's still worth like close to 4 tickets, so I want to be able to keep drafting all night. Otherwise, it'd probably be an easy dead weight. God, this pack is phenomenal. Like Arlen Cord, Judgment, Forge Master, Chaplain, Spiteful Motives, Deadweight. Like this pack has it all. I have a lot of experience with Shadows over Innistrad, so I'm well aware of how this format is supposed to go down. We're really going to try and splash this Arlen Cord, if at all possible. Primal Druid, I guess, can help us with that. We'll have to look for some other means to do that as well. All right, I know Solitary Hunter is a great card. We have Vessel of Nascency, which is also just fantastic for your Delirium. How many Delirium cards did we end up with? Just a couple, I think. I probably just want to take the Hunter. Although I guess we are doing good on creatures, aren't we? Crow of Dark Tidings also good for Delirium. It's also a zombie, which does work well with the recruitment. But Hunter is a solid card. It's just a big body. It beats down very effectively. I think we're just going to take the Hunter here. Well, there's a Bound by Moon Silver. Also have Gloom Widow. We could just take the Scavenger. It's a cheap spell. And this deck is... I'm trying to estimate how reliably this deck could actually get to... Delirium. I'm not exactly sure yet. Like with double grapple with the pass as well as Wailing Ghoul, that's pretty much all the help we have. We do have enchantments. And we have instants, we have sorceries, We basically have all the goods, other than a colorless card, right? Well, I guess this is colorless, but it's not artifact, which is very different. We're going to take the scavenger anyway here. Okay, so here we have some legitimate options, like Weirding Wood. What I like about Weirding Wood is that it can splash for our Arlen Cord. I think there's a decent chance we wheel it, though. Sanitarium Skeleton is a good card that works well alongside effects like Skurzdag Supplicant and abilities that let you discard for value. But I might just be more interested in like an Aim High, because I know it's a kind of tried and true combat trick that stops flyers, which our deck appears to have a little bit of problem with. We basically have a Ishkana and Swift Spinner as our reach effects, which is not a ton. I think I'm going to take the Aim High and hope to wheel the Weirding Wood. I mean, I guess I don't need the Aim High, but I also don't need double Cemetery Recruitment. Probably fine with one of those. I kind of have an unhealthy obsession for Loam Dryad. I think a lot of people, especially on stream, tended to start to criticize me for how much I tend to play this card, but I really legitimately do like Loam Dryad. I think it's a great card, especially in this deck where we still kind of want to splash this Arlen Cord. Admittedly, Arlen's not like a nuts card to splash, but it is a, it spits creatures out and kills things, which... it's a pretty nice combination of effects. And what else am I really taking? A Thornhide Wolves, which I don't really care about that much. I think we're just going to take the Loam Dryad. Okay, I know Rancid Rats is great. It's cheap. Man, that's a late Mad Prophet. We also have Farbog Revenant, which I do like, but I think I'd rather just have the Rats. It's also a Zombies for our recruitment value. We'll have to figure out some cuts at some point, but for now we're just going to take the Rats. True Faith Censor is a great card. It's a late Inspector as well. How many humans do we have? I think we're actually very low on humans. We have Primal Druid, which isn't even that great of an equipped target. We have Woodland Patrol, which would be good with Censor, but redundant with the Vigilance, and Solitary. I mean, we'll probably just take it because it's the best card. But maybe Inspector is actually the best card, but Censor is good. I just don't think we're going to play it. All right, Fork in the Road we're going to take and play, and now I'm starting to feel... this is actually just very good for our plan. I'm starting to feel a lot more comfortable with making a 16-land deck now. The main reason being when you have cards like Loam Dryad, Primal Druid, and Fork in the Road, all of these contribute to helping you make sure you're hitting your land drops. We kind of really want this Wicker Witch because it's an artifact creature. Gives us 2 card types in our graveyard. I'm starting to think I don't need this Id of the Horrid Swarm, but maybe I still try it out. I'm actually unsure on that. I don't know. We're going to take the Neonate. It's a very good card for the vampire build. Uncaged Fury. I've lost and won countless games with this card, so we're going to hate that. I mean, as is, you can even kind of... honestly, you can count Grapple with the Past as a land too, right? Unless you mill 3... wait, no, it's not just what you milled. You can look for any card. So yes, I think Grapple with the Past is actually going to work just fine. This deck looks cool too. I think our removal is pretty bad, but actually I like this deck. I think we've got a kind of a good little brew here, and I don't know how good Newscraft Mob is yet, but I kind of feel like the card is probably fine. Another reason I like 16 lands more than 17, just to get back to that point, I've found that I tend to get mana flooded more often than I get mana screwed. Oh yeah, we also have the Captive, which ramps. We have quite a few little rampy, fixie effects here. We do have to make some cuts, however, so we're going to have to figure that out. Let's, I guess, take Not Forgotten. But I find I get mana flooded more often than I get screwed. I certainly get mana screwed. It's happened. We also did not wheel the Weirding Wood, unfortunately, which I would have liked for this deck, but that's not a huge deal. We have plenty of ways to fix now. But yeah, that's kind of one of my main issues. Getting flooded, I just have found happens more often than getting screwed. As plain as that. All right, so I don't know if I'm sold on Id of the Horrid Swarm. Maybe I don't need this card. It seems okay. Like, basically, at best, you could hope to cast a turn 3, like, Witch into an It of the Horde Swarm on turn 4, get 3 bodies, and I mean, how often is that actually going to happen? Probably not too terribly often. I still kind of want to try out the Dusk Feaster, only because I think this deck could actually fairly reliably get the Delirium with double grapple with the past, especially. I think that's kind of realistic. So let's think about our cuts here. I think probably It of the Horde Swarm is going to go. I'd rather try out the Dusk Feaster. It seems like a better finisher than It of the Horde Swarm. We're definitely keeping the Scavenger. I am probably still cool with the Swift Spinner. Maybe I don't need the Supplicant, although it does help with Delirium. Maybe I do end up cutting Aim High. I guess let's do a zombie count. You know, perhaps the Cemetery Recruitment's not ultimately worth it, but what I love about it is that bringing back a bomb creature like Ishkana seems very good, but perhaps not necessary. We have plenty of ways to finish off opponents here too, by the way. Whether it be our melded creature, our captive which flips, a new Scrav mob, which I assume can beat down, Solitary Hunter, Ishkana, of course, which I guess is more defensive, but actually no, I mean, its activated ability can certainly put someone away. And Dusk Feaster also finishes games. I guess Arlen Cord in a long enough time period will also do that. So we do have, I wanted to do a zombie count. So rats are not zombies. So we do only have, I guess, Rancid Rats, Wailing Ghoul. Foul Bloods are, so that's 3. We have 4 zombies. It's probably not enough to reliably get full Cemetery Recruitment value all that often. So the question is really, would I rather run like a Recruitment or an Aim High? And I might even end up cutting both. I suppose that's a possibility. What are my Delirium spells? I have Ishkana and Dusk Feaster. Is that it? I thought I had more than that. Oh yeah, the Foul Bloods as well. That's not that many. How good is Primal Druid? I feel like this card's probably not that good. I wanted to try it out, especially since it fixes for Arlen, but Loam Dryad and Fork in the Road also fix for Arlen just fine. And even Grapple with the Past gives you a means to get back your red if you happen to mill your 1 mountain, which we're only going to play as 1 mountain. I don't know if I'm sold on this Primal Druid being very good, especially since we don't have any Emerge other than the It of the Horde Swarm, which I don't really want to play anyway. So I kind of want to cut this Primal Druid. I mean, it's kind of cool. It holds off 2 power creatures all day, right? And then when you need a land in a pinch, it can help you for that. Maybe it is better than it looks. Maybe I'd rather that than the Scavenger. Oh yeah, here's another Delirium spell, though. I think I'm going to cut the Recruitment. I like the Recruitment, but I'm not sold on it being a necessity for this deck. So then I really just, if I want to run the 16 lands, which I think I do, maybe I keep the Primal Druid for that reason. So that way we have Loam Dryad, Primal Druid, Captive, and Fork in the Road, and Grapple with the Past. So we have 5 other means. That's basically like 21 cards in our deck that contribute to ramping. Even if you want to count Loam Dryad and Primal Druid as like half a card, Grapple with the Past is half a card. Let's count these as half, and then the Captive and the Fork in the Road as a full land. You're still looking at 4 additional sources of mana. So it's like 20. It's like half of our deck contributes to getting mana. So maybe for that reason we don't cut the Primal Druid. So what is my cut? It could be the Supplicant, although, like I said, this card does seem like a good way to put people away. It could be the Aim High, although then what's our instant count? We have 2 instants. Currently we have 3 instants, a sorcery, 2 enchantments, a planeswalker, creatures, and artifact. I mean, we certainly have the means to get Delirium. And it's not like our deck needs to be designed around Delirium, like I said anyway. How good is Swift Spinner? Maybe this card's not that great. It seems fine. It's a little bit pricey. I guess, I mean, reach is good. We don't have a ton of ways to reach. Maybe it's a better sideboard card. I'm not exactly sure. Um, hmm. I kind of want to keep all of my 2-drops. Makes our Loam Dryad better. Um, and I kind of want to keep the aim high. It feels like we should cut a creature. So what's the worst creature in our deck? I presume that it kind of feels like it's Swift Spinner. Wailing Ghoul, I kind of like just because it blocks reasonably well and it ramps us towards our Dusk Feaster plan. And it kind of works okay with Grapple with the Pass too, honestly. And I guess it kind of works with Scavengers as well, so it has decent synergy in our deck. And, you know. I'm kind of feeling like maybe we cut the Swift Spinner. Maybe it's a better sideboard card. Especially if I want to run 16 lands, which I do, to keep our curve down. You can still count Arlencourt as a creature as well. All right, let's cut the Swift Spinner. If I play against the Flyers deck, it's going to be a lot better. If I don't play against the Flyers deck, it's a 4-mana 2/3 flash, which isn't really that good anyway, right? So, okay. Here's the deck. I like it. We have a very low curve, the way I like it. We have ramp effects. So we really just basically need to run... yep, I agree. 1 mountain. They want 7 green and 8 black. I think I actually am going to swap these. And the main reason is we value our green more for getting Fork in the Road, Loam Dryad, Primal Druid, and Captive. So all of our ramp effects are in green, which I think makes the green more valuable. Okay. So here is the deck. Very nice curve on this deck, actually. And we're going to hope that we pay a lot less for Dusk Feaster most of the time. We'll find out if that is the case or not. Still trying to discover if this card is good. But this is cool. This is a cool-looking deck. Right up my alley, like I said. Low curve. Powerful finishers. Removal is admittedly lacking. But we'll see how this deck runs for us. So running it like this, we'll see you round 1.